And we are back with you with the C&C Auto Show. I'm Aaron Clements and co-host Jim Pate, and we have a very special guest with us now. We have Steve Travers. And Steve, what do you do?
So I'm the non-commissioned officer in charge of the Special Operations Command Parachute Demonstration Team, the Paracommandos. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll be parachuting in, bringing in the American flag and the POW flag, opening the show for the air show.
That is an amazing thing. How did you? What got you interested in jumping out of airplanes?
So initially, when I joined the Army, I was a U.S. Army Ranger in the Special Operations Unit, and we do static line jumps. So we jump out at a low altitude with a parachute that you can't really control. But I started jumping in 2009 with the Army, and in 2012 I started skydiving on my own, and that kind of led to I skydived on my own civilian for a few years, and then I was. It kind of snowballed from there. I was the regimental liaison on USASOC, so the U.S. Army Special Operations Command parachute team, the Black Daggers. And then once I was done with that assignment, I was a military freefall instructor. So I pretty much taught people how to skydive in the military. And then because of those two jobs, I was recruited to get this position as the NCOIC on this demonstration team.
So you took it to the max.
I did. I dove headfirst into it. It was my passion. It's what I like to do. And then I was fortunate enough to get several jobs doing it.
I'll ask my question first, and then I know Jim's right behind me. What altitude do you normally jump out at?
So for shows, we typically jump out around 5,000 or 6,000 feet. It's not uncommon to go up to 13,000 feet. That's kind of like the rule of thumb for a high altitude jump. But for shows, the crowd can't really see us that high up, so we like to get out a little bit lower, deploy our flags so the crowd can actually enjoy it.
Jim.
Curious about the makeup of your crew, your team that dive, and that they don't all come from the Army, and where do they come from, and where are their qualifications merited and determined?
So being SOCOM, being the Special Operations Command as a whole, we encompass all four different branches of the DoD. So we've got Army, Air Force, Marine, and Navy, and it's all the different Special Operations components within those branches. So we have team members. We don't have any Navy SEALs right now, but we can have Navy SEALs. We've got MARSOC Raiders from the Marines. We've got Air Force SEER, PJs, and CCTs, and then a U.S. Army Special Forces Green Berets and Rangers.
So when they're with you as a group, they've already got obviously a fair amount of diving experience. Do they have to have additional training to become uniform in what you do as the hybrid of individuals that they are?
Yes, absolutely. So usually in special operations as a whole, you go through military freefall school, that school that I just mentioned earlier, and you get your basic training, and then you go to your units and do additional training and additional jumps. To be a member on the team, you have to have a minimum of 100 jumps. And then we start to train you from there. As there are different levels of demonstration jumps that require different jump numbers. So an open field demo such as this, you need to have a minimum of 200 jumps and additional training in demonstration jumps. So we like to get people with 100 jumps, and then we kind of train them up for that additional 100 jumps, and then they're able to do jumps like this. And then for pro demonstrations at NFL games or MLB games, a stadium jump, you have to have a minimum of 500 jumps.
That gets a little trickier.
It does. There are a lot more factors that go into it. Open field demo, pretty safe, nice and open, not a lot of hazards. You start to get into a stadium, you're jumping into a city, you've got people, the stadium,
utilities.
Wires. Yeah, there's a lot going on when you get into a stadium jumping.
Yeah. I guess they have a network of antennas out here not far from here. They call it spider web because there's so many guy wires and so forth.
Yeah, we stay away from those.
Well, how fast are you going after you jump? How fast are you traveling?
So it's about 130 miles an hour, depending on the heavier guys go a little bit faster, the lighter guys go a little bit slower. But it's kind of 130 miles an hour. Oh, excuse me. 130 miles an hour is about terminal velocity for the average person.
Do you still get that same excitement each time you jump?
Absolutely.
You still do?
Every time, yeah. And, doing demonstrations adds a little bit more of that excitement factor to it. Definitely in doing the prorated demos.
Got to be a little softer than that first civilian skydive you
Absolutely,
did. That was different.
I don't really remember that one. It was just kind of,
it's one of those
adrenaline kind of takes
just blocked out type things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the training, I'm sure, makes you a lot more comfortable. But but that thrill that you still, when
It's
you're
still falling
looking
through the air,
out
man.
Yep, it's still
Training
fun,
out.
and we want to put on a good, safe show. That's always a factor. That adds to that stress a little bit. You want to make sure everything's safe. You want to make sure everybody's having fun, and you're putting on a good show for the crowd.
And the uniformity that's required, because we understand you're going to come in with flags and so forth. If you dive in by yourself, that's one thing, but now you've got a different weight folks, as you're saying. There's got to be
Absolutely.
ways to manage all that, so that really got to add to it.
Yep, and that's why we practice a lot at our drop zone in McDill and in Zephyr Hills. We do a lot of practice jumps to make sure that everything's perfect before we go out and do shows.
So as you're diving, and let's say you want to go faster, you want to go forward and faster, what do you do?
So there's a technique, it's called tracking, and it's high lift tracking. So when you're falling belly to earth, your arms are out here, your legs are, everything's neutral, and you're going straight down. But if you want to move forward, you can actually put your hands behind you or to the side and point out your legs, and you'll actually get forward movement across the ground. It's called high lift tracking. Yeah, that's a one way. If I want to go over there, I'll go into that tracking position and scream across the sky.
Wow. How close do you get to other skydivers or your team members as you're coming down? How close do you get together?
So it depends what show we're putting on. We actually can do formations where we actually link up and grab each other's hands. We'll do different big ways or bomb bursts or barber poles where I'll actually grab one another and then we'll spin and then break apart, and we'll actually do that high lift tracking and gain separation. But we like a fair amount of separation when we're opening our parachutes, because you don't always have an on-heading opening and you don't want to accidentally meet one another under canopy.
So that's where the big training comes in, is to have an idea where those other team members are as you're coming down, because you don't want to go forward and there be another team member.
Nope.
close.
Situational awearness is key. You want to really be switched on, know where everyone's at, and then.
So how do you deploy the flag?
So the flag, we're not jumping the traditional drop flag right now because some things changed, and right now we're not allowed to do that as a DoD as a whole. But we have flags that are actually in our canopies. So there's an additional line, a suspension line within our canopy, and it runs up in the bottom of the canopy. There's actually a pocket sewn with Velcro, and the flag is inside of that. And then you pull it down just like a flagpole, flag line. You pull the flag down, and it gets suspended between you and the canopy within your suspension lines.
So there's how many flags then? One for each?
Yeah, one for each right now.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
So there's not so at one point there was a collective individual flag. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there used to be a large drop flag. There's actually a big pack that we had in front of us.
That's what I'm thinking
about. And you
about.
dropped the 2,000 square foot American flag or POW flag, but DoD regulations just changed, and we can no longer jump those because you can't, prevent it from touching the ground. And so we like to do that. We always had a crew of 5 or 6 people out there to collect it up as fast as possible. But it was a banner. But it's an American flag, and the regulations are what they are. So
it wasn't a hazard. It wasn't a challenge. It just was a respect for the flag.
Yes.
That's worthwhile.
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's worthwhile.
Yep.
So there's no question you have to stay physically fit to be able to do what you're doing, not only there, but also as part of the military functions that you have to be available for. You work on staying physically fit all the time.
Yes, sir. There's a standard in the military, and the standard should be met at all times, and that's physical fitness is part of that standard.
Yeah,
for
there's
sure.
no room for erosion of those standards in your field. Maybe someplace else there's some things going on.
No,
but
sir.
Not what you're doing.
No, sir. No.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say that that people like you, heroes, you make me very proud to be an American. I love seeing things like this. It just gives you a great feeling. I think that Chris mentioned the word goosebumps one time. It does when you see things like the flag deployed as a person's coming down. It just makes us all very proud. And also want to say how much I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and talk with us, and for being here, and your team members for being here.
Our pleasure. We appreciate. Oh man. Dang, I just dropped the thing.
That's all right. That won't hurt anything.
We just, we appreciate the support. We love coming out here. I mean, this is our job. We love to get out, spread the word, and just meet the community, and it's great. We love it.
What time will you be jumping?
We should today, pending weather, we'll be jumping at 11:30. Clouds are a little low right now, so it might get pushed to the right a little bit, but the 11:30 is the goal right now.
So your team will be one of the ones that starts the show.
Yes, sir. Today Red Bull will be starting, but tomorrow we should be starting the show.
And then
Yes,
will,
sir.
will you have more than the one dive you're talking about?
No, we'll just do one every day. Yes, sir.
Well,
Okay, so that all our listeners know, will you, as you jump, will you kind of wave toward the one so we'll know which?
No, he's not going to do that.
Yeah, I'll wave.
Yeah.
But I'll today.
sure they'll see
Today I'll be the first one coming down. So.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, we'll know
Yep.
then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
sir. I'll have the American flag today.
Hey, well,
That's good.
Steve, I really do appreciate you being here. We'll be
Yeah.
looking for you to be the first one coming down, and we so much appreciate you.
Sure,
being here.
the insight you can give that you can't just read on the show notes and so forth. So when you take the chair and let us know more, that's great.
Yeah, he jumped right in here. This was he had no
jumped.
idea
He
was gonna be
jumped.
here.
Yeah, that's what we do, right? No, I appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
Good day.
And we appreciate you being
Good
here.
luck, sir.
We'll be right back.